Assalamualaikum. My name is Adam Fahmi.
I'm Waki.
I'm Asim.
I'm Fakhrul.
I'm Hakim.
And today our group 11 will talk about agnosticism. And we will start with introduction from Brother Waki.
So let's start with concept and historical development of this worldview called agnosticism. Agnosticism is one of philosophical worldview which believe that humans are incapable of understanding the ultimate facts, thus the presence of God. That means there is no human who can determine the existence of God. This worldview is one of the ancient philosophy, but managed to be resurfaced again by Professor Thomas Henry Huxley around 18th century, or to be exact 1869, as the response to the problem faced by Western philosophers such as Immanuel Kant and David Hume. Kant and Hume conclude that human sensory perceptions can aid in understanding the material world, but it cannot understand the higher grasp of truth, which is the presence of God. Thomas, a person who managed to resurface again this worldview, once said that it is wrong for a man to be certain about objective truth unless the logical evidence is provided. So let's move on to the next part. Next person, please.
Thank you, Waki. My name is Muhammad Hakim bin Ahmad Yunus. My metric number is 2311111. And yes, I will explain about the characteristic and the principle of the agnosticism. For the first thing, agnosticism separate with two groups. The first group is agnosticism and agnosticism. And the agnosticism is about the conviction that the existence of God is ultimately unknowable or beyond the reaching of the human understanding. Nevertheless, the people that believe of the agnosticism is still believe that have a high power or deity without any assurance of the existence of God. By contrast with the agnosticism, which if they acknowledge the presence of God cannot be proven or disproven, and they not believing in God because lack of evidence. And the agnosticism and agnosticism is very coexist. The second characteristic is they always avoiding a judgment or discussion that cannot prove or cannot have empirical or rationally evidence that the existence of God. And they will firm and stand with their belief that the existence of God is not confirmed. The last characteristic is this belief is epistemological humility, because the human has a limited or lack of the ability to know the unseen or metaphysical. So they don't claim that God is exist because don't have any proof. So they want to see it, so they will believe it. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum. My name is Adam Fahmi and metric number 2315329. Today I will talk about the impacts of agnosticism to society and people. First and foremost, we need to know that this kind of people does not believe in higher power. Therefore, they have no rules and regulation they need to follow. They just need to follow the rules and regulation which is created by human. This will enable them to do whatever they want, and this will create havoc upon society. For example, LGBT society was not accepted around 20 years ago, but today they are accepted by society and they live freely demanding their rights when the people itself should not be existent. Second example is when a man and a woman want to live under one roof, they need to do the marriage. But nowadays, man and woman can live under one roof, and it is common among society. This is because they think that marriage is just a religious ritual. This brings a point that agnostic people does not believe in hereafter and afterlife. which makes them ignore the marriage because they think it is a burden for them. We, as a Muslim, must follow rules and regulations created by Allah because He is the creator of us and He knows what better for us. And that's all from me. Proceed to the next one.
My name is Muhammad Fakhrul Razi bin Muhammad Mahdi, metric number 2310691. Perceiving agnosticism from an Islamic stance, there are several qualities and points to believing in agnosticism. Before an agnostic embraces agnosticism, they usually have gone through a spiritual journey in finding the truth about this world. Just like when a Christian or an atheist learn about Islam and its truth. On the contrary, agnostics concluded that humans are incapable of reaching the truth about this God, usually there's the fact that they need a certain level of evidence to believe in God. This is important on personal exploration and questioning in one's spiritual journey, making agnostics open-minded, which is enables them to discuss new ideas and evidence. Some agnostics are believers of God, and some are open to the belief. However, to question everything means to be skeptical and undermine the certainty and authority of religious teachings. They argue that agnosticism can lead to a moral relativism and disregards for religious obligations. In referring to the definition of agnosticism, according to Islam, there is no specific Holy Scripture that can directly correspond with the agnosticism. Nevertheless, there are several verses in the Holy Quran that can indicate beings that are capable of grasping knowledge about the existence of God. I pass this on to the next presenter. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Brother Fakhrul Razi. My name is Asim bin Abdul Basit, metric number 2019731. Continuing where he left off, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has commanded us, humankind, to seek the truth by observing the nature and studying the sunnatullah, the law of nature. There are several verses in the Quran which command us to that. One of them are أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم وفي الأرض آيات للموقنين وفي أنفسكم أفلا تبصرون. Surah Al-Dhariyat ayat 20 and 21. And there are many countless evidence spreaded in the nature for those who are yaqeen, for those who have faith, and there are also evidence in themselves. So why don't they think? There are also some other verses. أَفَلَا يَنْظُرُونَ إِلَى الْإِبِلِ كَيْفَ خُلِقَتْ. Why don't they look at the camel, how they were created, وَإِلَى السَّمَاءِ كَيْفَ رُفِعَتْ, and to the sky, how it was raised, and some more verses. So all in all, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has blessed us human being with intelligence, which is an essential tool to seek the truth of this world. However, agnostics limited their own brain, limited their capacity of thinking by completely saying that humans are not capable. Human cannot pursue the truth of this world because human mind are limited. Even Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has refuted this in several ayah as mentioned before. So as a human and as a Muslim, I hope that we, especially as students who always critically thinking in studies and such, do not fall into this path. And by observing nature, the closest thing to us, ourselves, this is proof enough that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the God exists. Allahu ta'ala a'lam.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. We are from group 11. Today we have a forum session that will talk about agnosticism. My first question to Brother Wakiuddin. What is the meaning of agnosticism, Brother Wakiuddin?
Okay, thank you. Agnosticism is a belief or view that human is incapable of understanding the ultimate facts, hence the presence of God. That means no human really can determine whether God exists or not, that they are existent.
Around 18th century, this belief has been go around the world once again. That means long time ago it's already created by someone, but it's founded again by Professor Thomas at 1869. This is because the Western philosophy encounters some problems that require immediate solution.
Oh, I see. This group has been around from 1896. So my next question to Brother Hakim is about what is the characteristic of this ideology to people?
Okay, thank you, the moderator. The first thing we need to know that agnosticism separates into two groups. The first one is agnosticism and agnosticism. The agnosticism group, which is believing in an unknowable ultimate God, but not, although they not assurance the existence of God. And the atheist group, which is acknowledge the presence of God, but not believing in God. And yes, the first characteristic is both of group is coexistent, and the second characteristic is most of the agnosticism is rejecting and avoiding the judgment to prove that the existence of God, and they will stand and firm with their opinion that God is not exist. And the last one is yes, as we know, the human has a limit or lack of the sense and lack of information about the universe, which is like the metaphysical, like the unseen, like the unseen matters. So most of the atheism not believe in the existence of God because don't have any evidence to prove that God is exist.
Thank you, Brother Hakim. I see there are two groups of agnosticism. So my next question is about what is the example of activities for agnosticism people who believe in this idea? To Brother Fakr.
Thank you, Moderator. For example, we can look at Europe 100 years ago. There are strict laws that permit and permits sexual relationship outside of marriage. If you look at Europe today, they have unrestricted sexual life. You can have an unrestricted sexual life amongst the opposite gender and the same gender. And society at large no longer condemns this sexual relationship outside of marriage. So, this is because the original belief of Europe, that is Christianity, has been replaced by this belief, that is agnosticism and atheism. These trends have also spread amongst the Muslims on social media, especially amongst the youngsters.
Thank you, Brother Fakr. And my last question is about what does Islam view for this agnosticism ideology for Brother Asif?
From the Islamic lens of worldview, agnosticism usually consists of highly educated members because most of them, before they come to the conclusion, they must be conducting various research and various evidence research. So this makes them open to new evidence and discussion. Nevertheless, this strength is also their own weakness because this makes them being pessimist and questioning everything means they believe in nothing until proven true. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has said, وَفِي الْأَرْضِ آيَاتٌ لِلْمُبْصِرِينَ وَفِي أَنفُسِكُمْ أَفَلَا تُبْصِرُونَ Surah Al-Dhariyat. And there are countless evidence in this surrounding, in this world. And they are also in themselves. So why don't they think? Anatomy of human, the creation of heaven and earth, the creation of plant and everything. If only they use a little bit more, push a little bit more of their thinking, they will someday, inshallah, will reach the true path of enlightenment. Wallahu ta'ala.
Thank you, Brother Asif. I hope everyone can learn little knowledge and information from this brief forum session, and I hope everyone can take care of their imans and faith and being aware of these new Western ideologies of agnosticism.
An agnostic is someone who claims not to know whether or not God or gods exist. So here's this question: does God or gods exist? The atheist is the one who rejects the existence of God or gods. The theist is the one who accepts the existence of God or gods. The agnostic is neither accepting nor rejecting the existence of God or gods. So here's our question: do gods exist? Does God exist? And here are your three answers. The atheist says no, this thing does not exist. The theist says yes, this thing, God or gods, it does exist. And the agnostic claims not to know. Well, notice that none of them know. If you use that word of knowledge, which one of them has knowledge? Maybe none of them have knowledge. The atheist is someone who claims to know that God does not exist. The theist claims to know that God does exist. They could both be wrong. The agnostic is the one who claims not to know. Either way. But notice that there is a similarity between agnosticism and atheism. Whereas theism accepts the existence of God or gods, both the atheist and the agnostic lack a belief in the existence of God. The atheist does not believe in God. The agnostic does not believe in God. But the difference here is very important. The atheist rejects the existence of God and says, I know there is no God. The agnostic does not believe in God, but is not rejecting the existence of God. They're simply saying, I do not have the belief. I also do not have the belief that there is a God. So the agnostic neither agrees nor disagrees with the theist, neither agrees nor disagrees with the atheist. They are claiming not to know. Why don't they know? Well, maybe because they think human beings will never know whether God or gods exist in their human form, or it could be because they think that they just haven't put in enough time to figure out all of the evidence in favor of atheism or in favor of theism. So we're not sure why someone becomes an agnostic, but when they are an agnostic, what they're saying is that they don't agree with the atheist that there is no God. They don't agree with the theist that there is a God.
Alhamdulillah, that's all for today. I hope that everyone will get benefit and manfaat from our discussion today. Inshallah, we will meet again in the next time. Thank you for watching.
Thank you for watching.